We're live. I'd like to call this to order the work session for Wednesday, May 13th. Commissioner Camp is not with us this morning. He is testifying in front of a Senate hearing on what's happening with COVID and Department of Aging and different things. So Tony and I will proceed without. Call the meeting to order. First is reviewing the work session minutes.
Yeah,
You're good. Okay. Department head reports. Dan.
I don't, just kind of an FYI type thing. We've been working for the past couple of weeks and trying to get the offices throughout the county prepared for eventually opening up to the public and things like that. So just wanted to make a statement that our priority is the courthouse. We're going to take care of the offices in the courthouse first. I know we can't say that anyone's more important than anyone or anyone's safety is more important than anyone, but we feel that the influx of people coming in is more so here at the courthouse. So some of the outlying offices, we will be taking care of them. I'm just asking for everyone's patience and just know that we will be getting there.
Yeah, we had a couple of comments about that from the courts and stuff. They understand the need to get that done and that you're working and following through on that.
We only have so many employees, and all of my employees have different skill sets. So the employees we have available to do this kind of work is so we're trying.
No, we had a good conversation about this in our update meeting yesterday. We certainly have take the obligation to protect our employees inside the courthouse seriously, and those plexiglass shields and all of the PPE and cleaning procedures and stuff. We're working on making sure that those are good for when we do, which we haven't decided yet exactly when the courthouse will be more open to the public, other than what it's restricted to right now with the courts and Judge Mancini. So,
could you give us an update on the parks, the 3 parks?
Nothing on parks.
On parks.
Of course, I can't speak on behalf of Director Ishman as to how what he has lined up for rentals or anything like that. I can tell you that if and when things are decided, the decision is made to open things up, we can get them open pretty quickly. The shelters that are closed down, they're not boarded up or taped off or roped off. The roads that access the shelters are all paved along. All the tables at the shelters are standing up, leaning on each other. We'll probably take our crew to maybe a day and a half to get in there and set all the tables up there. And then, of course, we talked last week about the facilities, the recreation, as far as the tennis and basketball. Once a decision is made with that, same thing. Our crews, limited notification and limited time to get things back to normal.
Rennie's Run, the walking trail, it's still open, isn't
It is. We're open throughout the park, Rays Run Park, and everything like that. Brush Creek Park is the only thing. It's shut down simply because of what's going on out there.
Construction
And they are making huge progress. I mean, I was surprised at how far along they are already. There have been a couple setbacks. We found that, of course, the other day, the weather. They couldn't come out and work with the weather. And then I believe it was either early yesterday morning. Just within the past 48 hours, they found there's some type of natural spring in the road that's causing problems. It's going to be a water issue. And for a new surface over that, it's just trying to weigh the options of how to go about remedying that.
I spoke with Tammy this morning about that, and she mentioned that she thinks that they're still on schedule to be done with all of the work next week. So they're going to keep us updated on that issue. But as of right now, the plan still would be they would be able to be completed sometime end of next week.
Are they proposing to pipe the water away, catch it in catch basins? And
I believe so. And just one last thing. Playground is, it's installed, it's erected, it's up. The borders around it, we've got all the gravel in. The only thing we have to do is get the sinks in, and we can spread that. We kind of have to put down a whole system on the works being done on the road being paved. So.
Yeah, we've been getting a few inquiries about playgrounds and stuff. We have closed those off. I think we're a little reluctant to open those back up yet under these conditions, but that time will have to come probably soon, hopefully. Also want to thank you and the DPW folks for your assistance in the distribution of the dog food and cat food with the Humane Society. That was a great effort. I forget how many boxes, a couple of hundred boxes. I know we're giving out to folks with pets during this crisis last Friday. Really appreciate your guys' effort.
That's all the crew just got.
Yeah.
They're going to do another one on Tuesday.
Great. Yeah, I stopped by. It was a cold, miserable day to be had dog food. The cars were steady coming in and getting that out. I'm sure that was great relief for a lot of pet owners. So, any other department head reports? Okay, solicitors report.
Before jumping into the resolutions, just a couple of things I want to touch base on. As you said earlier, Commissioner Manning, no decisions have been made regarding when the courthouse will be open back up to the public. At least through this week, the courthouse will be closed to the public except for the limited functions with the court that we have been doing here over the last couple of months. In associated with the upcoming election, we did present an order that the judge has signed, which limits campaigning to 10 feet outside of all polling places. The way the law reads is that anyone who wants to hand out literature for elections is allowed 10 feet from the polling place. Where some of those polling places are at, that's physically inside the building. In order to try to limit access to the building, social distancing, we asked the judge during this time if that could be done all outside of the building. So the judge has signed an order that limits any type of campaigning on election day has to be done outside of the physical building, regardless of where the voting takes place within that building itself. So that is an order. Doreen has notified all of her poll workers of that. This is going to be posted at all polling places just to try to advise the public and anyone who will be doing campaigning on election day that you're going to have to be outside the building itself. We are currently also looking at renewing some contracts with the gas and electrical rates that the county currently has. Those contracts generally come up every couple years. I spoke with our supplier about that, our broker who goes out and looks at that. He feels now is a good time to lock in some low rates. So we are going to be getting some contracts over here probably within the next month to lock in some gas and electric rates for our various accounts throughout the different facilities.
Distribution rates, right?
Distribution. And then moving to the list of resolutions.
Just one thing before you get to resolutions. So I do want to remind everybody that the polls will be open June 2nd. We have 128 of the 129 polling places there. And that Doreen and her group has done a wonderful job. The poll workers are going to be there. They're going to be safe. Voters are going to be safe. And that resolution was another attempt to keep people distanced from the polls. So I just want to remind people, because under the governor's current orders for people in the red, from his perspective, that's supposed to carry through till June 4th. And we want to clarify that that doesn't include going to the polls on primary. That he's made that very clear. We want to make it very clear, make sure there's no confusion for folks. Still encourage people to use the mail-in process, which I don't know the current count, but it was
15,000, yes.
15,000, right? It was 11,000 last week. 15,000 applications and/or mail-in ballots have been received, but the polls will be open all but one, I think, in White Township, and I'm not sure how she's reconciling that.
She has notified those individuals directly by mail, all the registered voters there, they're going to be voting in Chippewa.
Also said that if you have your own ink pen, you want to bring it to feel safe.
Yep.
You can bring a blue or a black ink pen.
Yeah.
Of your own, so.
Yeah, so there's no excuse for somebody not showing up at the polls, worried about COVID or anything else. So,
Wear a mask and put on some gloves.
Be safe.
On the list of resolutions, there's 29 listed for tomorrow, putting out just a couple. 9 and then 11 through 16 are just amendments to various CDBG contracts, either an increase in the actual amount of it or a change in the length of time of the contract. Number 17 is for emergency repairs at the Freedom Magistrate Building. There was a mold issue there. This was to mitigate those repairs by the company to take care of the mold. Number 19 is for the ATM machine here at the courthouse. It's a lease for the ATM machine. We had one that was outdated. This is just a new one implementing the ATM that's used here at the courthouse. Number 20 is from the treasurer's office, and I know the treasurer's here. I don't know if she wants to make any comment on it. It's for the online dog licensing.
I made comments earlier on that. I appreciate it.
And then 25 and 26 just deal with our vision and dental rates. These are just renewals of those. We just did receive notice that our dental rate will stay the same for 2020 or 2021, excuse me.
Get to the dentist.
And then finally, just need an executive session to discuss a litigation matter.
No, I think we've done a lot of reporting in the last 2 weeks. I just hope people understand the area, the angle that the commissioners are taking. We're not trying to open everything up happenstance. All we're asking was for the governor to at least let us go with the rest of Southwest Pennsylvania as they told us they were going to do, and not put a wall around Beaver County. We just want to move from red to yellow. And it's everyone's responsibility to check what comes under the yellow so that you know that it's not just carte blanche, everybody opening up. You have to protect yourself and your families. If you're not sure what comes under the yellow, then I suggest you get a sheet. We have them there. They look something like this. It breaks it down from red to yellow to green, and green is just opening everything up. But what we're asking is to fit into this category like everyone else in southwestern Pennsylvania. Actually, if you look at the map, it looks like we belong to Ohio.
I think a lot of people in Harrisburg thought we were in Ohio for a long time. Until the cracker plant showed up. Anything else?
No, no.
Before I get on my soapbox. So I have a little bit more to say about that. And I don't want to make this personal. I'm not going to take the coward comment personally. That's more reflective of the person who's saying that. But I tell you, I am insulted with the governor's war analogy that we're deserters. I think that is a tremendous disservice and insult to the people of Beaver County. I would ask the governor, look at the video that's on our website that the chamber made about the contributions that Beaver Countyans have made to World War II. I would remind him that we have the largest Vietnam veterans organization in the state and one of the largest in the country. So when you talk about sacrifice and contributions that Beaver Countyans have made, that's an insult that I can't let and not comment on. And if he wants to make war analogies, I've got one for him. 45 days ago, we asked for help at Brighton Rehab, and they asked for help. And one of my favorite books is Killer Angels, about the Battle of Gettysburg. It's apparent to me that the Department of Health, the Cavalry, and Dr. Levine, Jeb Stewart, have been nowhere to be found while we were on the front lines in the middle of battling this virus. And we've taken tremendous casualties as a result of their inaction. And I'm just disappointed that he's going to use these analyses and accuse us of being deserters and abandoning the war. He says we're all in this together. But you look at the map, apparently we are not all in this together when it comes to Beaver County. He will not put us on equal footing in fighting this virus. It's just extremely disappointing that we're at this point. And he's also mischaracterized what Tony and Dan and I have said. I mean, in his statement that he put out to clarify his other remarks, these folks are choosing to desert in the face of the enemy. That's highly insulting. He also said that we are urging businesses to open. We're not urging anybody to open. As Tony just said, if there is a business that would qualify under the yellow guidelines and all the safety precautions and be allowed to open, all we're asking is that the prosecutor or the DA supporting him in saying if people open up, we're not going to challenge that. We're not urging anybody. Business owners have to make their own decision on this. We put out press releases on it and everything else. Some people are extrapolating it that we're opening up Beaver County. We're not going right to green. We're not suggesting we go right to green. We're suggesting we need to be put on equal footing so that our residents, our shop owners, aren't sacrificing more than our neighbors in this effort against the virus, based on skewed data from a facility that we asked for 45 days, and the Calgary finally showed up to do triage, I guess, after most of the battles already been fought up there. So it needs to be clear to people exactly what we're suggesting and what we're allowing to happen here. So we're not defying the governor's orders. We're just saying, put us on equal footing, truly have us all in this together, and make sure that we don't have to sacrifice more than our neighbors in this process. He's creating winners and losers in this by deferring the big box stores and other entities, construction sites, and different things where he's allowing who can come in, who's essential workers, and who can do what. And we just think that's patently unfair. It's arbitrary on who he's deciding who's essential and who isn't essential. And we just want to be put on equal footing with the rest of Western Pennsylvania. That's it. So
Like we're stuck in the middle of a Kenny Rogers song, cowards in the county. We're not cowards here. I'd actually like to look at what Beaver County has done here as a profile of courage. The fact that we are taking on our state government and trying to bring our governor to his senses on this. And I think we did a pretty good job.
well, I don't know how he defines courage or how he defines a coward. Maybe he thinks that Captain Brent Kosher was a coward for calling out the outbreak of COVID on the Teddy Roosevelt. I don't know, but again, that's for him to explain. We're not going to get in the middle of a bunch of name calling.
Yeah, because we want our people to support our county businesses, our local businesses. And I just wanted to shout out to support our local, especially our takeout businesses in the restaurants. Please don't forget our local restaurants that are providing takeout to try to at least keep their business going. And more importantly, don't forget your waitresses and your delivery people. They're not getting the pay even close to what they're accustomed to just to support their families. So if you can throw an extra couple of bucks in there, if you can. Not everyone can, but just please don't forget about that.
I also don't know how they define the term SWIFT. Dr. Levine put out a press release yesterday. Our nursing home residents are among the most vulnerable Pennsylvanians, and we have taken swift action to protect them. I nearly fell off my chair when I read
The
that.
6th week since we notified them.
This was issued yesterday, May 12th. Okay. Swift action. Okay. Enough of that. Yes.
What prompted me yesterday was after the governor has talked about giving, especially in for healthcare workers, so that the president does, so they can function and do their jobs without know he's looking at a facility.
Yes.
The state is abandoned for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
He's gonna investigate, right?
Yeah, obviously,
Very disparate.
they're trying to deflect a little bit there. And I happen to know the individual. Her name's been in the press, obviously, Jody Gill, who filed a suit against the Department of Health, and I support her in that effort. And we'll see where that goes. Because if you want to do war analogies, she's Jeb Stewart all around while they're calling for the cavalry. I don't know where she's been, but she sure hasn't been in the Department of Health. Sure hasn't been in Beaver County helping Brighton rehab. So I do have a couple of other things. Well, we covered courthouse opening and the primaries. The conservation district, with the unfortunate passing of Joe Petrello a couple of months ago. As you know, Joe was in charge of the Act 43, overseeing the farmland preservation board and process. And we've had some negotiations back and forth about where his role should rest. He technically wasn't a county employee, but he did work out of the courthouse in the planning commission area. And after a lot of consultation, the conservation district has selected a new director, a gentleman by the name of Jeff Fluke. Jeff has a varied background in industry. He was a plant manager, logistics guy, but he also is a legacy farmer in the New Sewickley area and was on the Farm Preservation Board. He will now be the director of the Conservation District. Hope when situation allows, Jeff can come in and introduce himself so that we can all get to know him. But because of his experience and some other changes that have been made with the Conservation District, I'm comfortable with the idea of the Conservation District being a better landing spot for this role in overseeing the Act 43. So I know I forwarded some stuff to the solicitor to take a look at it to see how we transfer everything that was going to Joe through his organization over to Conservation District to maybe manage
Funding.
this funding, right? Because we do make that is funded by the state and also Beaver County. Some of the operation costs and also the costs of preserving these farms in Beaver County. I think it's a very important process and program that we need to continue to support. And I feel pretty comfortable in bringing this forward in a future meeting for a vote. So I wanted to kind of get that on record as well. So that's all I have. Other business. Anything else from anybody in the audience? Didn't have any specific questions submitted. Tony? Okay. We won't need to come back after executive session. We will not. Okay. So this adjourns meeting. Well, that's what I just had. Anybody? Anything else from anybody else? Okay. All right. We're adjourned.
Go in peace. Beaver County.
I was contacted by